predictions time now, Brian. It's your chance to do your bit for the co-host club, and it's round 19 of Super League, and it starts kind of frustratingly for Wigan, really, with having a couple of important blokes coming back from Denver, having to get straight into the team. But it might be a debut for Joe Greenwood, probably off the bench, on Thursday, 7:45 p.m. on Sky. Wigan versus Leeds. Wigan wearing a special poppy kit, which you can pre-order now, and £10 from the, I'm guessing £50, I've not looked, will go to the British Legion, so supporting our veterans there with that. I don't pick against my side. Leeds have got a lot of injuries. I'm going to go for a 28-10 Wigan win, whether Sean O'Loughlin pulls up or not in this one. I think with Sam Tompkins, with those young wingers, and hopefully with Bateman back in the side, I think we'll have enough, and Joe Greenwood might add a spark off the bench too. So I'm going for a reasonably comfortable Wigan win. What do you think is going to happen, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can only see sort of Wigan being strengthened from last week, potentially with some of those England players back. Leeds really only have Dr. Bob's gorgeous friend Ryan Hall potentially back. I wonder whether Sean Wayne's going to wear a kilt to this one, maybe, for his new allegiances. But yeah, I reckon Wigan. I wouldn't back against Wigan.
He's going to walk out of the grand final in a kilt, Brian.
Exactly,
when he leads the team out.
So yeah, Wigan I'd go for as well here.
Okay, moving on to Friday, 7:45 kickoff for Warrington versus Salford. I can only see this going in the way of a comfortable Warrington win myself. I'm pegging pretty handsome win. I've gone 30 points to 4.
Yeah, I mean, this one occasionally goes a bit pear-shaped, doesn't it? Almost always you'd go Warrington to beat Salford, wouldn't you? And
yeah, and I suppose they've got a little bit of adversity in this will be the first game. Will this be the first game they've played since the Roberts news, and whether that's unsettled anything?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I mean, they'll have Warrington have got obviously Stefan Ratchford and Chris Hill were involved with England, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, whilst it wouldn't surprise me if
we're looking for reasons to make Salford competitive.
Yeah, I know. Well,
the win, aren't we?
I wouldn't be totally surprised if Salford did somehow manage to win this, but I certainly wouldn't back them. So I'll definitely go Warrington as well.
Okay, another game on Friday night, this time an 8 o'clock kickoff. Hull FC versus Widnes, the longest domestic travel in Super League, this one. And how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I suppose they'll have to go to sort of Hull Infirmary, won't they, to sort of try to rustle up a team for FC with their massive injury crisis that they've got. But yeah, that one, if Widnes won that would be probably the biggest shock of the season. So I see Hull winning this quite handsomely. It'd be really interesting to see if Jake Connor plays as well, that's
he picked up a knock, didn't he?
Yeah, but also to see what his form's like coming out of the England camp, because I think that's going to be a huge bonus for him. I know Scoots was actually really concerned before this about whether Jake Connor got selected. And the one thing she said to me on Twitter was, the last thing we need is one of ours getting picked for England and then getting injured. So we shall see.
Well, yeah. And Scott Taylor played as well for England, but he seemed to come through it unscathed, and of all the big men, probably played the least minutes. I'm with you. I see it being a Hull win. I'm expecting Connor not to play, but I think in Kelly and Harris they'll have enough. I'm not sure if Shaw will be back in, but I have a sneaky will. I just think that they'll have enough, but it'll be 28 points to 12 is what I'm picking on. So 2 to 3 score win for Hull FC at home, where they are very strong, apart from against real top opposition. The televised game on Friday night, 7:45 kickoff on Sky, is St Helens versus your Wakefield Trinity. Do you think there's much hope for your Trin in this one?
Yeah, well, I think there is. I reckon we'll give them a good run for.
You did them last year.
Good for their ground. Yeah, and we beat them at ours earlier on this year.
Exactly.
So, and these are the sorts of games that I don't usually go to, because one, it's on a Friday night. You've got to go across the M62. And we usually get, you think you're usually going to get beat. As it happens, I'm away, so I can't go to this one. Anyway, so I was delighted to see it's on the telly. I think we'll just come up short, and I think that sort of sums up Wakey's season. I think against the top clubs, we can give them a good run for the money, but they've usually got that little bit of class to sort of turn us over. And I'd be very surprised, very happy if we won this. But yeah, I think St Helens this one.
No, I think very similar in this one. I think that it will be a nice, a close-ish game, and Saints have been a bit scratchy recently, but they've just got those little touches of class, like you say. So I'm going to peg them to win 30 points to 20. Friday's last game is Hull KR versus Huddersfield. This one's a little bit more up in the air because Hull KR have been pulling out the odd result at home of late, but it still feels like they're not quite good enough, and Huddersfield are in form, and that form is they're really getting things together there. As long as Danny Brough doesn't come back and they keep going with your Golly Russell, I think I've got to tip Huddersfield to win away from home. I've got close win, 22-14, I think.
What about Danny Maguire? When's he due back? Is he? Because he was due back before the end of the season, was it? But I don't know if that's for the 8th.
I think they're going to hold him out for the 8th.
Yeah, okay.
At this stage.
Yeah, that'll make sense. Yeah, I mean, I'll go the same as you, Huddersfield. I just think that I think that they're going really well, and I think they've probably got a bit of a sniff of really, making sure they actually make the 8s and getting away from that bottom 4. So I'll go Huddersfield as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at the table, obviously we've already kind of covered that Widnes will be definitely confirmed as goners into the qualifiers. But Hull KR, if they lose this one to the team in 8th place, that'll give them a 7-point gap, so it'll be a 9-point gap with 4 games to go, so they'll be in the qualifiers then too. So obviously it is last chance saloon for them, but I just don't think they've got enough against a Huddersfield side that are in form. I can't see people like Ike not just blasting through, and they've got quality off the back of that too, with players coming back. Okay, Saturday 5pm game, Sky. We've got the bonus Catalan home fixture this week. Catalans are always on TV, my wife tells me. I think we're away this weekend, so I won't be able to watch this one live. I'll have to catch up with it the following day. But Catalan versus Castleford, I do think this is one of the most intriguing, because we all know that Cas have got 2 first teams out injured, and Catalan picking up a bit of form. They've got a few players showing a few nice touches. They seem to have worked things out a little bit creatively, whether it be Gigo or Michelorem who are supporting the halves in doing that, but they're certainly getting that support from their other players. What do you think is going to happen in this one, Brian?
I think this is. I think Catalans are one of those teams that's going to be a bit inconsistent. So great win against Leeds, but I think their season will be sort of summed up by the fact that they then come at home looking to back up on it and probably don't. So I think I can see Cas actually, getting there, and a bit like one of the other teams early on in this. Maybe it was Wigan, was it actually, where Catalans were all over them, big win, was it? And then Wigan came back and won.
It was inspirational from our fearless leader.
Right, yeah, and that's the sort of thing that I see. This one that you think, Catalans have probably, ought to win it, going quite well. But yeah, I just see Cas. I think Cas will sneak this one.
I think Cas are going really well considering the adversity they're going through with injuries. But I think it's bound to catch up on you at some point. Away from home with a long trip is probably where that some point is against a team that's in form. I think it's going to be a really narrow win for Catalan. I've got it 22-20, so I'm going a 2-point Catalan win. Probably the most intriguing game of this weekend, though, sits outside of the Super League. It's the game that will see Toronto confirmed in the qualifiers mathematically if they win this game against the Leigh Centurions, and also if Leigh were to win this game, it would really set the cat among the pigeons for them, because this is one of the games that maybe their opposition in that top 4 think they're not going to win, and if they win it, it's going to really be a surprise win, and they're going to beat any team they play that's below them in the table, that's for sure, with this championship table. So it could be a huge pivotal game for Leigh. I fancy Leigh. I think Toronto have had a couple of games that are too easy, so I'm going to go with Leigh in this game. I don't know what you think.
Big call, big call. No, I'll go Toronto, and I think that sort of travel and all of the stuff that goes around that, I think that's a huge advantage for Toronto, which I don't have any problem with. But, I think people just have to sort of man up with it. But I think that, they haven't been beaten at home yet, have they? They've won every game at home, and so I think they'll win it. What really interests me about this is about the crowd that they get, and what I don't know yet is whether the Canadians have any concept or care about that. So, and obviously there's.
Well, the London game had a much bigger crowd than the Dewsbury and the Barrow game since.
Yeah, it did, and what I'm not quite sure about is whether that was because that was the first one back. So if you think so,
at Lamport,
there's something about they're now playing every single week. So are people saying, well, actually we don't need to go this week because we can just go next week instead? Or is there a bit of now for the go? Actually, London's a bigger. Is it the London name? Or do they go? Well, actually, it's Dewsbury or Barrow. We're not bothered to go. And I've no idea. I mean, their crowds.
You'd think there's people with a passing interest in them will have picked up who the Leigh Centurions are just because of everything else that's in that Toronto setup. The coach, a lot of the players. The start of the season, their first game of the season was against them, and they played them in a televised game that they would have all seen at the Summer Bash, which was a thrilling game as well.
A
total cracker. So, in fact, both those games will have been really exciting for the Toronto audience. I think that might help. I hope it's a new record crowd for them. I hope they push over 8,000.
Yeah, I think it would be great if they can. But I'll be really fascinated to see how it works, and also. What Toronto have tended to do for their home games, they've really extended the hand of friendship, and it's been but you get the impression Leigh wouldn't really want it, So
just slap it back in the face.
You just find it be quite a difficult club to sort of work with to say this is all about rugby league. So this will be a fascinating.
I feel Leigh are nice to the clubs below them, but not to the clubs above them or around them. Yeah. League One game of the week is Oldham versus Workington. This is another game that we're picking out for Oldham, but it's third versus fifth in the table, so it does have playoff implications as we've just hit the halfway stage in that division. So I am going to plump for Oldham to bounce back from their defeat last week.
Yeah, I reckon the same as well. I mean, Oldham were going really well, weren't they, until last week when they lost to Hunslet. So I think that they'll get back in the horse, and I think they'll be okay here.
Okay, just to run through the NRL Brit picks, we've got the Dragons versus the Eel. That's Thursday, 10:50 a.m. on Sky. We'll see if anyone backs up from the Denver game in that. Broncos versus the Raiders Saturday at 10:35 a.m. That's not on Sky, so you'll have to get that on the Watch NRL app if you have access to that. Rabbitohs versus Cowboys Sunday at 7:10. That's plenty of time for the Burgesses to recover there. Okay, that is the world of rugby league well and truly covered from last week and looking forward to next. We're now just going to wrap up the show with a quick quiz for you, Brian.
God, here we go.
So, Brian, thanks for being a guest host on this show. I couldn't do the show about the Denver test and not have you involved in some way. I'm glad you've been able to stick it through to the end. And we've got to a quiz that I've specially designed for you in mind. So, basically, the quiz is who are the players and what's the connection? And I've got 4 questions for you. And I want the answers for who the players are. And then I want you to come up with what the connection is once it's all finished. So are you ready and set for this?
Okay, yeah.
Raring to go?
Here we go.
So the first question is, this guy's an Aussie halfback turned touchline reporter, best known for his successful spells in the NRL with Melbourne and in the Super League with Wigan. He also played 3 times in Origin, as well as having spells at Canberra, Sydney Roosters and Parramatta in his 15-season career.
Who were the other? Play for Wigan in Super League, do you say?
That's right, yeah. So Melbourne and Wigan are who he's most known for.
Oh, is that halfback, did you say was?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. He came from Melbourne, didn't he, to Wigan?
He did, and went back to them for 1 year, then checked into rehab, and now he does stuff for Fox Sports down under.
No, I can't remember what his name is. I know who he is, but I can't remember what his name was.
We'll leave it hanging out there because you might get it when you start getting some of the others and get the connection. Okay. Number 2 is St Helens winger, whose record to this stage in his career is 78 tries in 118 games, which is pretty impressive for his hometown club. He's also enjoyed loan or dual reg spells with Whitehaven and most recently Sheffield, who I believe